What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 4. So, we start this episode off. We have Melody and Tiffany having a conversation. And they sort of recapping what happened down to the party. You know, and Tiffany says, listen, you know, Stormy kind of rolled up on me and she was kind of on some other stuff. And Melody was like, my bad, girl. You know, I didn't even want that kind of energy down to the party. So then, you know, she said, listen, you know, Stormy is very opinionated, you know, but girl, I know. So then they talk about the book signing with Martell, and Tiffany is trying to sort of cape for Martell a little bit, and she's sort of coming at Melody like, girl, like, you know, Martell looked like he was really disappointed that the kids couldn't make it. And Melody was like, listen, I ain't know nothing about that book signing. I had adopted my family. My kids were with me and with my family, and it is what it is. She said, listen, when people are used to being able to disrespect you, you have to tell them, teach them, and remind them that they no longer have that control over you and they no longer can manipulate you. And I 100% understand where Melody is coming from the point of view, like I said in my review last week. If it was not Martell's week to have those kids, then it wasn't Martell's week to have the kids. And yes, this was something that I feel like was important, but it also doesn't sound like it was something that was executed in a way in which Melody will understand that this is something important. Because somebody one of my subscribers brought this up in my comments, and you know, shouts out to you. The kids didn't even act like it was a problem. Like, I didn't see the kids saying, Mommy, no, we have something to do with Daddy. Mommy, no, we have an event. Mommy, no, our book is going to be published. That is something, maybe not the younger kids, but the two older kids, it seems like if they knew what was going on and they understood the level that you know, they were actually publishing a book, I feel like Melody would have known about it, right? But the flip side is, and I understand where Tiffany is coming from on this side when she says, listen, don't let the past hurt dictate how you move now. And I feel like what Tiffany was trying to say is, don't make decisions out of spite to spite Martell that's going to end up hurting the kids. But and I think that point is valid. Now, in this particular example, like I said, if it wasn't his week, it wasn't his week. And if he didn't properly communicate and execute to Melody what was going on and why this was important, then, you know, it is what it is, and that's that. Then they got to talking about Tiffany's first marriage and why her marriage ended. And she said, she sort of kind of repeated what she told us last season. I guess Melody didn't watch that episode, where she said, listen, you know, you know, I was selfish. You know, I wanted a better life. I wanted more, you know, and I wasn't nice to him. This man loved me unconditionally, and I just wasn't a good wife. You know, I wasn't, and I took advantage of it. You know, she was honest. I give her credit. I feel like she was being honest in that moment. She said, you know, now she ain't come right out and say she cheated, even though she did already tell us that last season. But Melody was like, well, I can respect that you're honest about it. You know, you made mistakes. You realize you made mistakes. You know, and she said, I feel like that's why I'm a good wife to Lewis now, because I get it. Like, I know what that looks like, and I know what that feels like. And I want to be that person, you know. So then we see Kimmy and Tisha hanging out. And Kimmy said, listen, I want to invite Tisha over because I feel like I need to clear some things up after that reunion. When Carlos asked me the question about whether Tisha is somebody I would be friends with, like, outside of the show, and my answer was no. At her point, I understood the point she was making. She said, listen, I'm the kind of person, she said, Tisha, you know me. You've known me to get into one argument with somebody and be done with them, because I just don't have that kind of energy in my life. She said, but I haven't thrown you away because I love you, and I never would throw you away. I love you. Now, I'm going to say this, Kimmy, you know you my girl. And I understand exactly what Kimmy is saying, and I believe where Kimmy is coming from. But what I'm going to say to that, the flip side of what I'm going to say to that is, she family. You have to deal with her. You have to be around her, even outside of this show. You still got to see her. You still have to deal with her. Now, maybe you see her more because of the show, and you have to deal with her on a more intimate basis because of the show. But, girl, you still can't throw her away. You know, y'all got the family reunion. You got the Sunday cookouts. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna, listen, when they finally get this house built, they're gonna be having family events down to the compound, girl. So, I understood the point she was making, but I still think what she said she meant. I just think she's trying to, fluff it up a little bit for the purposes of the conversation. Because at the end of the day, you meant exactly what you said. Me and Tisha would not be friends outside of this, of the fact that we have to deal with each other. And I think she mean that, and that's on what Mary Had a Little Lamb. Anyway, so then Kimmy lets Tisha know, listen, your cousin was down to this party that you wasn't invited to, talking about you telling your business. And Tisha was like, girl, what? She said, listen, me and my cousin haven't always had the best relationship, but I thought we were good. I thought we were in a good space. Thanks for telling me, girl. Thanks for letting the sister know. Okay? So then we see the fellas hanging out, right? We see Martell and Maurice and Marceau down to the bar. They're back from their, 3-year deferred honeymoon. Kimmy had a good time. Maurice said, man, we got to go on vacation more often. Kimmy is a whole different person. I couldn't keep her off of me. And Marceau was like, and that is a vision I didn't need to know. Like, I want to know, like, good shopping, good drinks. Did you make it down to the rum factory? I didn't need to know nothing about what was going on after hours. I didn't need to know nothing about that. But glad y'all had a good time. Yes, Maurice, take your baby out of the country more often. Well, San Juan technically is not out of the country, but you know what I'm saying. Make her pull that passport out next time. How about that? Okay. So while they're down at Black having a conversation, Lewis drops through. So they can sort of clear the air after he talked to Martell last week. Clear the air and figure some things out. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Now, y'all give me a hard time about Marceau because I be trying to ride with Marceau. Even though Marceau says some stuff I don't really like, and sometimes he act in a way that I don't really agree with. One thing I will give Marceau is that he stands 10 toes down in all his shit. And he did not backpedal and pussy pop off of nothing he said to Lewis about Lewis when Lewis was around or when Lewis wasn't there. And he basically told Lewis point blank. He said he poured him a shot. He said, take that shot before we talk now. I want to make sure you get that shot in you before we had this conversation. But he tells Lewis, he said, listen, let me explain something, sir. You don't know me. You don't know my marriage well enough to talk to me about my marriage. Like, you just don't have that insight. And Lewis was like, well, I don't feel like we said anything bad about your marriage. Now, Carlos, you getting good at rolling that beautiful beam footage and giving us some receipts like Bravo does. So they rolled that beam footage. Now, technically, it wasn't Lewis that said it. It was actually Lewis's wife, Tiffany, who made a comment about Marceau and Tisha's marriage not being in a good place. So technically, Lewis, you're right. It wasn't you. But it was your wife, and you co-signed that shit. Now, Marceau's thing is, you don't know me well enough to speak on my marriage. She said, and Lewis was like, you don't know me, Martell? For real, Martell, you don't know me? Because remember last week, Lewis had all that bass in his voice. Remember last week, Lewis had all that bravado up in his chest. Martell was like, listen, we know each other to dap each other up, but we don't know each other to have no conversations about our marriage. We don't know each other for you to call yourself giving me advice on my marriage and whether my marriage is good or bad. And, Lewis was like, well, you're right. Okay, I see your point. And he told him, he said, listen, you may feel some kind of way. He said, listen, I could be somewhere and I could see a woman and I could think that maybe she's overweight, or I could think maybe she's not cute, or her outfit ain't cute. I don't know her well enough to address it. I don't know her well enough to talk to nobody about it. So yeah, you can feel how you want to feel about my marriage, but you don't know me well enough to speak on it. And that's all I'm saying. Like, he was like, who the hell do you think you are to speak on my marriage? Like, you just don't. He said, that's like, you could be a straight A student, but that doesn't mean you're ready to teach the class. And Lewis was like, yeah, but I'm maintaining my grades, though. He was like, yeah, you could be maintaining your grades, but you ain't ready to teach the class. You don't have the skills to teach the class. And that's all I was saying. So, Lewis basically ended up apologizing, right? So, Maurice was like, okay, that's cool. I appreciate you apologizing. But Marceau, don't you feel like you want to apologize? And Marceau was like, apologize for what? And they were like, you did kind of come at him really hard at the reunion. Like, you really came at him. And he was like, all right, fine. I apologize, for coming at you kind of hard. I apologize. And, Maurice was like, you have a real hard time apologizing, huh? But again, I love the fact that the men had the conversation over a drink. They said what they had to say. They didn't nobody fight. Didn't nobody throw nothing at each other, right? And at the end of the day, they walked out of there dapping each other up. Now, do I think they're gonna be friends? Hell no. Do I think that they're gonna probably get into it again? Probably. But I do feel like they had the conversation and they were able to address it, right? All right, so now we see Martell meeting up with his new management, and they're talking about all the things that he has coming out. Now, this is all I'm going to say. And yep, I was petty because I made it my thumbnail, but the first thing we see is the advertisement for his new wine that he has coming out. Ain't nobody see that y'all misspelled the word California? Nobody saw that? Y'all put it up on the wall. Nobody saw it. Y'all put it on the screen. None of the producers, the cameraman. Nobody noticed that y'all spelled California wrong. Okay. His cookbook is coming out. He took his naked body off the front. They changed the front of the cookbook, which I thought was a smart move. He said, I didn't feel like, husbands and boyfriends would want me sitting in their, significant other's kitchen, half dressed. Probably a good thought. So, they made it a more generic cover. I thought that was a good idea. He does have his premium wine that's made in, I don't know what state that is, because I don't live in that state. Because the state that I live in is not spelled that way. I mean, the state in my country is not spelled that way. But wherever his wine is made, he's going to have a party down in Atlanta. They're going to invite some celebrities. She doesn't want to do it in Huntsville because she wants to have a more neutral, audience there, whatever. And she brings up the picture with Marceau. And she says, I can't keep putting out fires on the internet. Let me tell y'all what y'all not going to do. I've been told y'all not going to keep going on with this picture. That picture release don't have nothing to do with his wine. Okay, talking about I can't keep putting out these fires on social media. Child, you got bigger fish to fry than that damn picture. If you want to start talking about putting out fires with Martell on the internet, that picture is the least. Matter of fact, that picture didn't make Martell look bad. That picture made Maurice look bad. That picture didn't have nothing to do with Martell. Martell already said he was there. Martell already admitted to the fact that Ariane was there. Martell already admitted that they was doing what they was doing and they was having their little vacation. And like that picture didn't have nothing to do with Martell. Y'all are grasping and pulling to keep this picture in every damn episode, but okay. Then she brings up the book signing again, and again Martell wants to try to play woe is me. I can't believe Melody did that. She really hurt the kids, and I don't believe why would she do that to the kids? And here's what I do like about his manager, because she said the same thing last week. And she basically said, listen, I know sometimes we want people to do the things we want them to do, but we can't always make them do what we want them to do. And we have to accept, she said, listen, if it wasn't your week, it wasn't your week. And he said, well, from now on, we just need to make sure that when we plan stuff, we plan it on my weekend. How about that's a conversation y'all should have had to begin with? You never should be playing this stuff that includes your kids on the week you don't have your kids. Co-parenting 101. Unless it absolutely couldn't be avoided. If it were a situation where you wanted to take the kids to Ice Capades and the only week you could get tickets to the Ice Capades was Melody's week, guess what? You still need to call Melody and ask her if the kids can go to Ice Capades because it ain't your week. Okay? That might be a really nice thing you want to do, and that might be the greatest decision in the world. But if it ain't Melody's week, it ain't Melody's week. I mean, if it ain't your week, it ain't your week. Anyway. So anyway, that was that, child. So then we see Tiffany meeting up with Miss Stormy to clear the air. Honestly, I don't feel like we got any closer to clearing the air than when we started. I mean, I feel like they had some common ground when it came to children. She said that her and Lewis are thinking about having another kid. She only 34. I didn't realize Tiffany was only 34. But she said she's not sure if she wants to start all over again, because that's a lot. It is a lot, girl. That's a lot. Stormy talked about the fact that, because of some health conditions, she had to do in vitro. It took the first time, which is really hard. It's for it to take the first time. That's great. She said, but she almost died in childbirth, so she ain't trying to do it again. She got her one and done. She good. they talked about the party and the comment that was made. I still don't understand why that comment was that serious. Y'all tried to explain it to me in my comments last week. I still don't get it. I still feel like there was something deeper about that, because I just don't understand why I got the reaction it got from Tiffany and Kimmy. Because Kimmy was like, "Oh, you getting smart. I still don't understand the conversation, but I guess it ain't for me to get. I guess that's something for me not to understand. I don't know. At the end of the conversation, I mean, at one point Tiffany was talking and Stormy was paying her no mind. You could clearly see that Stormy was ready for this scene to be over. She was ready to be done with it. And she even told Tiffany, "Yeah, I zoned out about 5 or 6 sentences ago. Listen." And Tiffany was like, "Damn, was that shade? Because I thought we was here to clear the air. Are we good? Are we not?" Like, I'm confused. I'm confused too, girl. At the end of the day, Tiffany was like, "So are we good?" And Stormy was like, "I mean, we're definitely working towards it." Tiffany was like, "So, I mean, but we cool though?" She was like, we're better." I said, "Stormy, you doing a lot. What do you want from this woman? Girl, what do you want from her?" Anyway, so last but not least, you guys, we have Tisha going down to Black to have a conversation with her cousin about what had been said down to Melody's Christmas party. Now, first of all, the first thing Tisha does when she walks in the door is say something to Jalen about not being in a suit. So I'm assuming that the evening attire at Black is that he's supposed to have on a suit and tie, which I can respect that, okay? But clearly, if the man is standing, he's been working for y'all for over a year, he know the rules. If he is standing at the bar out of uniform, then I would think you can assume that he had good reason. So the first thing she gonna say to him is, "Where's your shirt and tie?" He said, "I ain't been home yet. I've been here." She was like, "Oh, you been here all day?" "Yes, I've been here all day. I haven't been home yet, so I haven't had a chance to go put on the shirt and tie." He said, "I'm about to leave in a few minutes to go change and come back." So, again, the next thing out your mouth should be, "Oh my gosh, Jalen, thank you so much again for all your dedication." That is a lot. I'm sorry. I was just going back to the conversation last year about how much Jalen does and how little y'all care. And again, is he doing his job? Sure he is. But I just know people who work in hospitality, and yes, there are days when that happens. But for the owner to walk in and that be the first thing out the owner's mouth instead of, "Thank you so much, I appreciate all you're doing." Ugh. Anyway, so cousin shows up. She gets a drink. They go into a little back room to have this conversation. And what I gather from this conversation is, I don't feel like the cousin was trying to get back at Letitia, but what the cousin's point is, "You're mad at me because it got back to you that I was telling your business," which I wasn't, but you kind of were, because you absolutely did. And the way Melody threw you those questions because Melody already knew the answers, because y'all had already been talking, and you answered those questions the way Melody wanted you to answer those questions. Let's be clear. But she was saying, you're mad at me for telling your business, but you told my business. Now, they ain't tell the secret, because whatever it is, it must have been real private. But basically what happened was, the cousin was invited to spend the holidays with Martell and Melody a few years ago, and Kimmy felt like it was her duty to tell the Holtz what was going on with the cousin, because she was going to be in their home, and she felt like they needed to know. I don't know what the story is, but whatever it was, Letitia must have felt like it was something that was going to impact their stay, or potentially impact the stay. She also said that it got back to the cousin that they were kind of laughing and joking about whatever this situation was. And Kimmy said that's not what happened. She was like, "I did tell Melody, and I admitted to you that I told Melody." She said, "We had a whole conversation for hours where I told you everything I said. You said you forgave me. You apologized. We moved on. That was 2 years ago. Why are we bringing that back up?" Then she said, "Did it ever occur to you?" She said, "Well, because I heard you said this, this, and this." And Tisha was like, "Did it ever occur to you that Melody told you things and made it seem worse than it was to get back at me because she mad at me? Like, that never occurred to you that this isn't really about you, it's really about me? And the cousin was like, nah, because of this and nah, because of that. Listen, now y'all know I don't be giving Letitia a whole lot. Because at first I said, Letitia, it sound like you double talking. At first I felt that way. I ain't gonna lie. At first I felt like Letitia was sort of double talking a little bit. But then, the more I'm sitting here listening, I'm realizing I don't think Letitia is double talking. I feel like what Letitia said, like, listen, I said some shit. I admitted what I said. I apologize. It wasn't salacious. It wasn't gossipy, but I did tell your business. But I thought we moved on. So is this get back or are you just messy? So Letitia finally just says, you know what? Let's just be done with it. Let's just cut ties because clearly you're not over it, and I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with you over this. I'm not gonna keep doing it. Now I feel like that was a little quick, so I feel like their history was a little deeper than what we thought. So she goes outside and she calls Kimmy, right? Oh, Kimmy, I'm so mad I could scream. I'm shaking and da-da-da-da-da. So while she on the phone with Kimmy, the cousin comes outside. Here go the cousin. So who you telling my business to now? Now, technically, in this situation, it ain't your business. It's really Tisha's business, and she has a right to tell anybody she wants to tell. But I understood the point. Anyway, that's where the episode ended. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.